Have you ever stopped to think about, well, the absolute foundations of human thought? You know, those really ancient texts that didn't just write down a history, but actually shaped whole ways of thinking, whole civilization.
The ones that laid the groundwork for entire philosophical traditions.
Exactly. And today, that's where we're headed. We're doing a deep dive into the Vedas, the oldest, most revered scriptures in Hinduism. Now, for this exploration, our sources are pretty comprehensive. We're looking at details covering all four Vedas. That's the Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva. And importantly, we're looking at their different layers, too. The Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads.
Right, because understanding those layers is key.
It really is. So our mission here is basically to give you a shortcut, a way to grasp these incredibly complex ancient texts. We'll look at their structure, what makes each one unique, and, their huge influence on philosophy, on culture.
Trying to provide some of those aha moments without just drowning everyone in information.
Exactly, getting to the core of this foundational knowledge. So, okay, let's unpack this a bit. Before we even jump into the individual Vedas, there's this fascinating structure they all share. Each Veda isn't just one single thing. It's usually seen as having four distinct parts.
That's right. It's a kind of layered approach.
And that structure itself is really insightful, isn't it? Why set them up like that?
Well, it's a brilliant system, really. It helps us see how thought itself evolved, potentially over centuries. Think of it like a journey, maybe starting from the outer forms of worship.
Like prayers and rituals.
Exactly. And moving towards the deepest inner philosophical understanding. So first up, you have the Samhitas. These are the core collections. The hymns, the mantras themselves, the sacred words, you could say.
The raw material, got it.
Then, after the Samhitas, come the Brahmanas. Now, these texts are laser-focused on the rituals, the ceremonies.
So the how-to guides.
Pretty much. They're like these elaborate instruction manuals, explaining how to perform the rituals, the exact procedures, the meaning behind every little action. Very detailed.
Okay, so hymns, then ritual instructions. What's next?
Next are the Aranyakas. They're often called forest treatises or forest texts. And what's really interesting here is that they act as a kind of bridge.
A bridge.
Between what? Between the purely ritualistic focus of the Brahmanas and the later philosophical focus. They start exploring the symbolic meaning, the meditative side of those same rituals. They're often associated with hermits, ascetics, people stepping away for more contemplation.
Moving inward. Makes sense.
And then, finally, we reach the Upanishads. This is where the really profound philosophical teachings burst forth. They're often seen as the culmination of Vedic thought, pushing beyond ritual, beyond just symbolism.
To the big questions.
Exactly. Exploring the deepest concepts existence, the nature of reality, the self, or Atman, Brahman.
Wow. That's quite a progression. Hymns, rituals, symbolism, philosophy.
It is a journey laid out in the structure itself.
Okay, so let's start that journey. Where else but with the oldest one, the Rigveda? This is widely seen as the most ancient part, composed, roughly 1500 to 1200 BCE?
That's the general time frame, yes. Very ancient.
And its structure is huge. We're talking 1,028 hymns, the suktas.
Grouped into 10 books, the mandalas.
Right. And the Samhita part, the hymns themselves, are often dedicated to specific deities, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. You find powerful hymns to Agni, the god of fire, who's central to sacrifice.
And Indra?
Indra, yes, the god of storms, rain, war, a very prominent figure. And Varuna represent cosmic order, many others too.
And the language is that early Vedic Sanskrit. The focus feels very direct, prayers, asking for things, praising the gods.
Very much so. It's about invocation, praise, establishing that connection with the divine powers. It feels quite immediate.
Okay, so that's the Samhita. What about the Rigveda's Brahmana?
The main one associated with it is the Atharvaveda Brahmana. And true to form, it dives deep into explaining the rituals, especially the yajnas, the fire sacrifices, that use the Rigvedic hymns.
So it's telling you how to use those hymns in the ceremonies.
Precisely. Procedures, the meanings, the significance of it all gets very detailed.
So after the how-to and the Brahmana, where does the Rigveda take us?
Well, following the pattern, we get the Aitareya Aranyaka.
The forest text for the Rigveda.
Exactly. And it does what Aranyakas do. It steps back from the purely physical performance of the ritual. It starts exploring the symbolism, the meditative aspects. It's that bridge again.
Connecting the outward action to inner meaning.
Leading towards philosophical thought.
And that leads us to the Aitareya Upanishad, the main Upanishad for the Rigveda.
That's the one. And here, The philosophical exploration really takes flight. It tackles these huge questions. Where did the universe come from? What is the true nature of the self, the Atman? What is Brahman, this ultimate reality?
Foundational concepts for later Indian philosophy.
Absolutely. It's a cornerstone. And what's really fascinating here is seeing this entire progression within the Rigveda itself. It starts with direct praise, moves through intricate ritual detail, and then opens up into this profound philosophical inquiry.
So it's not just separate books added later. The seed of the whole journey is kind of there from the start.
You could definitely see it that way. It maps out this path from outward devotion to inner understanding, all within its own structure. It's quite remarkable.
It really is. Okay, so from the foundational words and ideas of the Rigveda, let's shift. Let's talk about the Samaveda. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, because it's all about sound, about music.
Exactly. The Veda of chants and melodies.
So the Samaveda Samhita, it's basically a songbook for rituals.
That's a good way to put it. It's a collection of chants, melodies, saman, specifically arranged for use in rituals. It has around 1,875 verses. But here's the crucial thing.
Most aren't original.
Right. Most are actually taken directly from the Rigveda. But the key difference is they're set to specific melodies.
Ah, so the Samaveda is about how you sing the Rigvedic hymns.
Precisely. The focus is entirely on the musical rendering, especially during the important Soma sacrifice. The tune was essential.
Okay, so if it's about singing, the Brahmanas must explain how to do that right.
Exactly. You have texts like the Tanya Mahabrahmana, also called the Panchavimsha Brahmana, and the Jaiminiya Brahmana. And they provide detailed instructions for the priests, the chanters, on how to perform the rituals involving this music. The specific chants, the melodies, how it all fits together.
Got it. And does the Samaveda also have an Aranyaka?
It does, the Jaiminiya Aranyaka. And again, following the pattern, it moves beyond just the instructions for chanting.
Towards the meaning behind it.
Yes, discussing the symbolic meaning of the rituals, the inner spiritual significance of the sounds, the melodies themselves. It encourages a meditative focus on the chant.
And then the Upanishads connected to the Samaveda.
Two very important ones here, the Chandogya Upanishad and the Kena Upanishad.
The Chandogya is huge, right?
It's one of the largest and most significant Upanishads, definitely. It covers a vast range: meditation, ethics, cosmology, the nature of reality, the concept of Om.
And the Kena Upanishad.
The Kena is shorter, more focused. It delves into the nature of Brahman, asking, by whom? Kena are things known or accomplished. It explores the limits of our minds and senses in grasping ultimate reality.
So if we step back and look at the Samaveda's contribution, what does it tell us?
Well, I think it shows us that the spiritual experience in this tradition wasn't purely intellectual. It wasn't just about understanding the words. It was deeply about how those words were embodied, how they were felt through sound, through melody, through the ritual performance.
So a more multisensory approach.
Definitely. It highlights this aesthetic, emotional dimension of connecting with the divine. Spiritual truth experienced through sound. It's a powerful idea.
It really is. Okay, moving on then to the Yajurveda. This one has a peculiar split, doesn't it? The Shukla and the Krishna. White and black Yajurveda.
Yes, that's a major distinction. It's not just a small variation. It affects the structure of the Samhita itself.
How so?
Well, the Shukla, or white Yajurveda Samhita, presents the mantras, the formulas used in rituals, quite clearly and separately from the explanatory parts.
More organized, perhaps?
You could say that it's often seen as a clearer manual for the officiating priest. Whereas the Krishna, or black Yajurveda Samhita, well, it mixes things up. It intersperses the mantras directly with explanatory prose, the Brahmana-like material. It's more integrated, woven together.
Interesting. But the core purpose of the Samhita in both cases is still the ritual formulas.
Absolutely. The Yajurveda Samhita, in both forms, contains the prose mantras and verses the yajus that are specifically uttered during the performance of sacrifices, the yajnas. It's the Veda for the priests actually conducting the main ritual actions.
The practical handbook for the officiant.
Exactly.
And the Brahmanas associated with these.
Very important ones. For the Shukla Yajurveda, the standout is the Shatapatha Brahmana. It's massive, incredibly detailed.
Really goes deep into the rituals.
Oh, yes. Explanations of the sacrificial procedures, their symbolism, their cosmic significance. It's a foundational text for understanding Vedic ritualism. And for the Christian Yajurveda, you have the Taittiriya Brahmana, which serves a similar function, explaining the rituals associated with its specific Samhita.
Okay. And the Aranyakas, following the pattern.
We have the Taittiriya Aranyaka, links to the Krishna Yajurveda.
And for the Shukla.
Well, parts of the Shatapatha Brahmana itself function like an Aranyaka, and then you have the beginning of what becomes the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which also serves this transitional, symbolic, meditative purpose.
Ah, so the lines can blur a bit sometimes?
They can, especially in these transitional texts. They delve into meditation, symbolic interpretations, philosophical ideas, paving the way for the Upanishads proper.
And the Upanishads that come out of the Yajurveda tradition are some of the most famous, aren't they?
Hugely influential, yes. For the Shukla Yajurveda, you get the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, one of the largest, oldest, and most profound Upanishads, and also the concise but powerful Isha Upanishad.
And from the Krishna side?
The Taittiriya Upanishad and the Katha Upanishad. The Katha is particularly famous for the story of Nachiketa and Yama, the god of death, exploring mortality and the nature of the self.
So these Yajurvedic Upanishads really dive deep into, well, everything.
Pretty much. The nature of the self, Atman, the universe, Brahman, the law of karma, the path to liberation, moksha. They cover the core philosophical ground of Vedanta.
And, this Veda, the Yajurveda, it really prompts an important question, I think.
Which is it?
How do these incredibly detailed, almost obsessive, ritualistic texts, the Samhitas and Brahmanas, lead to such profound, abstract, philosophical insights in the Upanishads?
Yeah, it seems like a big leap.
It does, but
Yeah.
it shows this amazing continuum. The idea seems to be that the precise performance and, crucially, the understanding of the ritual, its symbolism, that becomes a path, a springboard for deeper metaphysical realization.
So the action, when understood correctly, leads to knowledge. That seems to be the implication. Diligent, understood action as a route to ultimate wisdom. It connects the practical and the philosophical in a really powerful way.
Okay, that brings us to the fourth Veda, the Atharvaveda, and this one feels different, doesn't it?
It definitely has a distinct character compared to the other three, which
Yeah.
are more closely linked through the main sacrificial context.
Right. While the others focus on big cosmic deities and elaborate sacrifices, the Atharvaveda seems much more grounded in, well, everyday life.
That's a very good way to put it. Its Samhita contains around 730 hymns, about 6,000 mantras.
And the focus is unique.
Very unique. It deals much more with practical life. You find hymns and formulas for healing, for protection, for prosperity.
So things people would use day to day.
Exactly. Spells or chants for health, long life, success in trade or farming, finding a partner, warding off misfortune or harmful spirits, even curses sometimes.
Wow, so it covers the whole spectrum of human concerns, the good and the bad.
It really does. It's about navigating the immediate world, the earthly experience, protection, well-being, harmony in daily affairs.
Does it have a Brahmana too?
Yes, the main one associated with it is the Gopatha Brahmana. And it does what Brahmanas do, provides ritual instructions and explanations, but specifically tailored to the unique hymns and practices of the Atharvaveda. It tries to frame these more practical concerns within a ritual structure.
What about an Aranyaka? Does it have that forest text tradition?
Interestingly, the Atharvaveda doesn't have as clearly defined or extensive an Aranyaka tradition as the other three Vedas.
Why do you think that is? Because it's already so practical.
That might be part of it. Its focus is less on the grand, abstract symbolism of the Soma sacrifice, for instance. However, some later texts associated with it do touch on symbolic interpretations and meditation, so the impulse is still there, just perhaps less formalized in a distinct Aranyaka layer.
But it does have Upanishads, and significant ones.
Oh, absolutely. Three major Upanishads are traditionally associated with the Atharvaveda: the Mundaka Upanishad, the Mandukya Upanishad, and the Prashna Upanishad.
And these are known for being quite philosophical, right? Despite the practical nature of the Samhita.
Very much so. The Mundaka distinguishes between lower knowledge, rituals, sciences, and higher knowledge of Brahman. The Mandukya is famous for its analysis of the four states of consciousness, centered on the syllable Om. And the Prashna Upanishad deals with fundamental questions about life, creation, and consciousness.
So even from this Veda focused on daily life, you get these profound philosophical texts.
Yes, and that's what's so fascinating about the Atharvaveda. It integrates the mundane, the everyday, the practical concerns directly with the spiritual quest. It suggests that spirituality wasn't seen as something totally separate from ordinary life. Even worries about health or success could be addressed within this sacred framework.
It grounds the abstract in a way.
Exactly. It grounds the lofty philosophical ideas in the soil of everyday living. It shows a remarkably holistic view, acknowledging all aspects of human experience as potentially connected to the sacred. It makes the spiritual very accessible, in a sense.
So wrapping this up then, we've journeyed through these four Vedas, each with this incredible layered structure. What's the big takeaway?
I think the big takeaway is seeing this monumental intellectual and spiritual undertaking unfold, this evolution of thought and practice.
From hymns to philosophy.
Precisely. To quickly summarize those layers again, the Samhitas, the core hymns and mantras, the invocations for worship and ritual,
The foundation.
the Brahmanas, the detailed how-to guides for the rituals, explaining the procedures and their meaning,
The practice.
Dharamyakas, the crucial bridge, moving towards symbolic and meditative interpretations, that inward turn,
The deeper meaning.
and the Upanishads, the culmination, the profound philosophical teachings about the ultimate nature of reality, the self, the universe.
Wisdom.
Exactly. And together, these components across all four Vedas form the bedrock of Hindu spiritual and philosophical thought. They haven't just shaped religious practices for millennia. They've profoundly influenced the entire philosophical landscape and cultural heritage of India and beyond. Their impact is just immense.
A truly incredible body of knowledge. So, as you listening reflect on this deep dive, maybe consider this. How does this ancient journey, evolving from prayer through intricate ritual towards deep philosophical insight, how does that mirror humanity's ongoing quest? Our timeless need to understand the cosmos, yes, but also our own place within it all. What does this layered evolution of understanding captured in the Vedas reveal about the very nature of knowledge itself, and maybe how we still seek it today?